So welcome back to our 6th episode of Podcast with Setu. Here at Setu, we are trying to bridge the gap between our past, present and future. Here, we are trying to bring our art, architecture, culture and history in the most interactive format. So please, like, share and subscribe to our channel. Also comment on our previous episodes. We have made a lot of episodes about the Panchangam, about the Konark temple and about the Hoysala dynasty. So if you haven't seen those, there's a link down in the description below. Please go and check those out as well. So today is a very special episode because today is an interactive episode where we have our first guest. Yes, this person is a very famous and renowned Bharatanatyam and a Kuchipudi dancer. I'm talking about Mrs. Rema Madhu. Like Abba would say it, she learned to dance even before she could walk. At the age of 7, she not only performed in front of a huge audience but also won many state-level competitions. Along with her sister, Mrs. Hema Dinesh, they have performed over 350 shows across India. Various art connoisseurs were also present, and even chief ministers, film personalities and various other dignitaries. The highlight of her career was in 1972 when she performed at Rashtrapati Bhavan in front of the former President of India, the late Shri V.V. Giri. In the last 2 decades, she has taught many students in these dance forms and also helped develop their cultural and mental personalities. So welcome ma'am to our very first podcast and thank you for taking the time to talk about the Indian dance form.
Thank you, Anuraag. I'm indeed very excited to be here today and wish to thank you and all your viewers for this opportunity. It's very heartening to see the great effort put in by you, that is the Akhanda Setu, to expose our great culture and heritage to the younger generation. Just to add to this, your efforts bring in this immersive experience from the comforts of the home. Without even going out, I could get this informative and panoramic understanding of this great art. So I wish you and your viewers all the best and your team especially, Akhanda Setu.
Oh, thank you ma'am. So I kept your introduction quite short because I wanted the viewers to hear it from you itself. So please tell us all about how you embarked on this journey and all the life lessons that you learned throughout your journey.
Well, I think you've covered quite a bit of me already. I had my training in Kuchipudi and Bharatanatyam dance forms from a very young age, but the entire credit for this goes to my guru, Sri Bhagavatala Yajnanarayana Sharma Garu, who incidentally was the nephew of Sri Vempachan Satyam Garu of Chennai. He was a perfectionist and never relented till he got that perfect mudra or the perfect bhava and expression from all his disciples, And he was an excellent choreographer. He composed this Ramayana, which depicts the entire story of Ramayana, that is Bhavayami Raghuramam, which my sister and I performed across India, and it was very well appreciated and well received by this audience.
Oh, wow.
Well, for my diploma program, I had studied the Natya Shastra and several other texts of great personalities, which was part of the curriculum. And during my 14-year association with Good Shepherd International School, Ooty, I had this opportunity of training several students in these Indian classical dance forms, many of whom are still continuing it at international universities. And some of them have taken it as a career also.
Really?
Yes. And with a great support from the management of GSIS and the active participation of my students, I conceptualized and presented several dance dramas like Ramayana, then Sri Krishna Leela, Ashtalakshmi, Navarasa, Anarkali and so on in classical dance forms besides several folk dances.
Wow.
And one thing which I'm quite proud of is I successfully trained students for dance at higher levels in International Baccalaureate syllabus from 2014 onwards. And due credit to my parents Sri Mukhya Pranrao and Srimati Jayalakshmi for their unstinted support and encouragement.
Wow, ma'am, that's quite a profile. So, classical dance like Kuchipudi and Bharatanatyam have been a huge part of our cultural heritage, especially in South India, where it shares a cultural and symbolic connection. I hope that's also something you agree with. So, today's episode, what we're trying to do is we're trying to understand art and architecture as seen from the eyes of an artist.
Very true, and I totally agree with the statement. There's definitely a bond between the two, which goes beyond the sculptures on the temple walls. Performing arts like Bharatanatyam, Odissi, or Kuchipudi or Kathak are just not performing arts, but they're a window to India's rich historical and social heritage.
Oh.
So, okay, where do you want me to start?
Actually, a couple of years ago, I visited Belur and Halebeedu temple. And you have a guide who shows us all around and he says,
Right.
This is how it was built, that was how it was sculpted. And he very specifically showed us the Nataraja statue. And he said, this is the Shiva, Lord of Dance. So what I wanted to ask is, now Nataraja statue is prevalent all over India. I wanted to know the significance of the pose, not only on a material level, but also on a cosmic level.
Well, that's a very good starting point. And thank you for beginning this topic from this point. Because yes, Lord Shiva was the first dancer. And the word Nataraja itself means the Lord of the dance. Now, every dancer, before she commences her performance, or even be it the practice sessions, starts with a small Sanskrit sloka, which praises Lord Shiva, and also where they completely submit themselves totally to him. Okay. It goes as thus, Angikam Bhuvanam Yasya Vachikam Sarva Vangmayam Aharyam Chandra Taradi Tvam Namasatvikam Shivam. The meaning of this is, I bow down to you, O benevolent one, whose bodily movements are the entire universe, whose music and poetry are the essence of all languages. In fact, it is the language of the universe, and whose ornaments are the moon and the stars themselves.
Oh, wow, that's a great comparison of Lord Shiva and the universe.
According to Sanatana Dharma, Trimurti, or the three most significant forms of Brahman, are Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. Nataraja embodies this dynamic process of creation, preservation, and destruction, thus maintaining the nature of the universe. He is a symbol of religion, art, and science merged into one. And the gestures of dance signifies Shiva's 5 activities, the Panchakrityas.
What exactly are the Panchakrityas, or the 5 activities of Shiva? But I'd like to interrupt you here, okay. And I want to talk to the viewers. If you already haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so. Please hit the like button as well, and also hit the notification to get more such episodes. So ma'am, let's get back. The Panchakrityas, or the 5 activities of Lord Shiva. What exactly are they?
Okay, you would have noticed Lord Nataraja that he has 4 hands, standing on what looks like a baby, and the other leg slightly raised up. Now, each of these has a very significant meaning to it. Coming to your question of Panchakrityas, they are Srishti, which is creation, Sthiti, which is protection, Samhara, which is destruction, Tirobhava, which is embodiment, and Anugraha, which is release. Now, the rare right hand of Lord Shiva holds the damaru, or the drum, which signifies creation, which is the rhythmic sound of the universe.
Oh, so effectively Shiva was the first person to produce the sound, or nada. I also heard that the first sound was produced in the void of nothingness.
That's very true. It was effectively this nada which was, created the entire universe. And then he has the front right hand in Abhaya Hasta pose, which means protection. And this is slightly above the left hand, which is pointing down, which implies Abhaya to those who come to my Sharana, or who come seek my protection. Now, destruction signifies the rare left hand holding the fire. And Tirodhana, that is the foot which is placed on the demon Apasmara, who is the darkness of ignorance. And the raised tilted leg, it bestows release or anugraha.
The other thing I wanted to ask is there's a big circle behind the statue of Nataraja. What does that exactly say?
Well, this is the cosmic circle. He is encircled by an ever glowing and flaming circle which is known as the Jwalamala Prabha Mandala.
Oh,
Jwala means the tongues of flame, Mala is the garland, Prabha is that which is glowing, and Mandala is the nimbus. This is viewed as an illusion or the suffering and pain that experienced by one and all. Okay, you would have noticed that there's a serpent around Lord Shiva's neck turned to the right.
yes.
Okay, this signifies the Lord's perpetual laws of reason and justice which preserve the nature of the universe.
Oh,
And there's an interesting story attached to this. It is said that during Samudra Mantana, that is the churning of the ocean, Lord Shiva consumed poison. And some of the snakes also took in the poison. So, as a kind gesture to them, he has it around his neck. And one more thing, serpents also signify reincarnation.
oh. I mean, it's just one gesture pose signifies so much philosophically and scientifically as well.
true.
The other thing I wanted to tell you was a couple of years ago, I visited Chidambaram temple in Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
And again, this was built by the Cholas in the 10th century. And there's this entire mystery surrounding this temple, which is called the Chidambaram Rahasyam,
Correct.
where, the whole temple is built on the magnetic equator of the earth. And the Nataraja statue, more specifically the toe, is actually pointing towards it.
That's very true. And this is one of the reasons why India gifted an idol of Nataraja to CERN, the Center for Research in Particle Physics in Geneva. Yeah, and physicist Capra, he explains this dance of Shiva so beautifully and connects it to the rhythm of creation and destruction and the turn of the four seasons. The dance of Shiva is the dance of subatomic matter, which is the basis of all existence and of all natural phenomena.
I mean, it's just unbelievable how our entire art, architecture, culture, and history are all intertwined, and it's so unique to this world as well.
Very true.
Now, I am an actor myself, and I performed a couple of theatre plays where the one way of communicating with the audience, of course, we have emotions and feelings and all that, is through dialogue. And that's how the audience understands, what's going on. But as a dancer, it's mostly emotions or mudras that they use. So I wanted to know the process that a dancer goes through to prepare for a scene.
Oh, that's a very good question. And as you rightly suggested, Bharatanatyam is a vast subject. And just imagine we touched just the tip of it. Bharatanatyam is a combination of bhava, that is a facial expression, then the mudras, that is the hand gestures, and tala, which is the rhythm which we are all bound by. Now, sometimes the dancer may have to sync the feet with the speed of the mridangam or the natwana, but maybe the hands and the face should flow gradually with the music and the lyrics. Sometimes, the dancer has to portray navarasas with her face and the mudras, but then maybe the mridangam is going at a different pace altogether, and she has to synchronize this with that, which is not an easy thing. So, like what I say, Bharatanatyam is not just a performing art, but a combination of physical fitness, expressiveness, discipline, and many other such things than just a performing art.
I mean, it's quite a very deep topic, and I think just a few episodes will definitely not suffice.
Right.
So we'll continue this in our next episode, where we talk more about Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, and other Indian classical dance forms. So thank you, ma'am, so much for your time. Let's meet you in the next episode. Thank you.
My pleasure, and namaste.
The magnetic equator is sort of a zero influence on the north and the south pole. This is a zone where neither the north or the south influences a person. This allows one's energies to be taken upwards without being skewed, since there is no pull to the north or the south. So effectively, life is at the best at this point. The temple's roof is covered with gold leaves, which cannot be seen in other temples. The temple houses the Lord in three forms. The first is a form of Nataraja called Shakala Tirumeni. The second is a semi-form or also known as crystal linga, called as the Shakala Nishkala Tirumeni. And the third is a formless or space called Nishkala Tirumeni. So follow Akant Setu for more.